The glittering lights of Istanbul's in-style night promised glamour, fashion, and star-studded appearances. Celebrities lined the red carpet, posing with practiced smiles while flashes from dozens of cameras painted the evening with brilliance. Everyone expected an elegant night, filled with designer gowns and high-profile encounters. But no one, absolutely no one, was ready for what was about to unfold. When the crowd turned toward the entrance, whispers rippled like waves through the hall. Stepping into the spotlight was none other than Yaman, the Turkish heartthrob who had conquered Italy and stolen millions of hearts worldwide. His presence alone was enough to stir excitement. Yet, moments later, a second figure entered, one that transformed the atmosphere from excitement to absolute shock. Demet Özdemir. The woman who had once shared screen magic and undeniable chemistry with Can. Their partnership in Erkenci Kuş had not only launched them into international superstardom but had also sparked endless rumors of an off-screen romance. For years, fans speculated, prayed, and fought over whether the two had been more than just co-stars. And now, after years apart, there they were, side by side, reunited under the glittering chandeliers of in-style night. The cameras went wild. Photographers screamed their names, trying to capture that one perfect shot. Social media exploded instantly. Within minutes, hashtags like #CanDemetReunion and #InStyleShock were trending globally. The world hadn't seen them together for so long that the moment felt almost unreal. But while fans celebrated the reunion, another story was unfolding behind the scenes. Watching closely, with eyes that betrayed emotions far deeper than anyone realized, was Sara, the woman many had linked to Can in recent months. The woman who, according to gossip, had his attention, maybe even his heart. And now, as Sara saw Can and Demet smiling politely for the cameras, exchanging a brief glance that spoke volumes, her reaction would soon become the most talked-about twist of the night. As the flashes continued to blind the crowd, the atmosphere around the red carpet shifted. Fans cheered, journalists shouted, and the images of Can and Demet together spread like wildfire. Yet behind the dazzling surface, one pair of eyes locked onto the scene with unshakable intensity. Sara. For weeks, tabloids had speculated about her connection with Can. Was she simply a close friend? A confidant? Or perhaps something more? Rumors swirled endlessly, and Sara, an elegant figure in her own right, had been seen by many as the woman closest to Can in this new chapter of his life. But that night, under the unforgiving lights of InStyle, her composure cracked. Witnesses say Sara's expression told a story words could never capture. At first, she smiled faintly, clapping politely as if nothing bothered her. But those who watched closely noticed how her hands trembled slightly, how her eyes darkened when Can and Demet leaned in to greet one another. It wasn't the casual nod of two colleagues, it was something heavier, something filled with a history that could not be erased. The tension grew sharper when the photographers pushed them closer together. One more shot. Look this way. Perfect. The crowd shouted. Can and Demet stood shoulder to shoulder, their chemistry so natural it reignited all the old speculations. Sara, however, remained rooted in place, watching as though the ground beneath her threatened to collapse. Social media users caught it instantly. Videos of Sara in the audience circulated online within minutes. One clip, zoomed in on her face as she watched Can and Demet, went viral under the caption, "Her reaction says it all." Fans debated furiously, some claimed she was furious, others believed she was heartbroken, and a few insisted she was planning her next move. But what no one could deny was this: Sara's reaction became as big a headline as the reunion itself. What was supposed to be a celebration of fashion had transformed into an international spectacle of love, jealousy, and unanswered questions. And as the night continued, whispers behind closed doors suggested that Sara wasn't about to stay silent. If Can and Demet's reunion was the storm, then Sara's next move might very well be the lightning strike that left everyone speechless. While the cameras outside captured glamour, smiles, and headlines that would dominate the morning news, what unfolded behind the curtains was even more explosive. Away from the blinding flashes, in the quieter corners of the InStyle venue, emotions clashed in silence. Ken had stepped aside after the red carpet frenzy, his sharp tuxedo perfectly in place, but his thoughts visibly distracted. He greeted acquaintances, posed for selfies with fans, but his eyes seemed to wander, almost as if searching for someone he hadn't spoken to in years. That someone, of course, was Demet. Demet, on the other hand, radiated confidence. Wearing an elegant dress that drew admiration from every angle, she glided through the crowd with grace. Yet, those who watched closely noticed subtle hesitations in her movements. When her eyes met Ken's across the hall, the air thickened. A glance that lasted only seconds spoke of late-night conversations, shared laughter on set, and a bond that had never truly disappeared. But it wasn't just Ken and Demet who shared the stage in this backstage drama. Sara had entered the lounge area, and the energy shifted immediately. Dressed to perfection, she carried herself with poise, yet her presence was heavy with unspoken tension. She greeted a few industry friends, but her gaze was locked firmly on the pair that everyone else seemed to be buzzing about. Witnesses say the three crossed paths near the VIP section. Ken, caught between courtesy and discomfort, greeted Demet warmly but briefly, while Sara stood only steps away. The silence was deafening. Every eye in the room turned to them, waiting for a spark, a word, a gesture, anything that would confirm or deny the stories already dominating Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Some claim they overheard fragments of a conversation. A polite "it's been a long time" from Demet, a careful nod from Ken, and then the faintest shift in Sara's posture, as though every word pierced deeper than it should have. Within minutes, photos leaked online. Not from the official cameras, but from insiders, guests who couldn't resist capturing history in the making. One shot, in particular, went viral, Ken standing between Demet and Sara, his expression unreadable, as though torn in two worlds. Fans labeled it the triangle at InStyle Night. What was meant to be a glamorous event had turned into a battlefield of emotions. And while no harsh words were spoken, the silence, the glances, the restrained smiles, it all told a story louder than any headline could. And the night wasn't over. What happened after the event, away from the spotlight, would prove to be even more shocking. As the night drew closer to its end, the music echoed through the grand hall and glasses clinked with champagne toasts. Yet, beneath the surface of elegance, the tension was impossible to ignore. Fans online were already calling it the reunion of the decade, but for those inside, the drama had only just begun. Sara, who had kept her composure for most of the evening, finally reached her breaking point. Witnesses claim she slipped away from the crowd and confronted Ken in a quieter hallway, away from the flashing cameras. Though their words were muffled, onlookers described the scene as intense and unmistakably emotional. One guest whispered that Sara's voice trembled, asking Ken a question that cut straight to the heart: "Did you still feel something for her?" Ken didn't answer right away. His silence spoke louder than any confession, and in that moment, Sara's expression revealed both pain and fury. She walked away, her heels striking the marble floor with the kind of finality that echoed in everyone's memory. Meanwhile, Demet had been approached by friends and colleagues all evening, congratulated on her dazzling appearance and the energy she brought to the event. But deep inside, she carried the weight of those few seconds shared with Ken, the glance, the unspoken history, the question of what if, that never seemed to leave them. By the time the event ended, 3 lives had been thrown back into a storm the world thought had calmed years ago. The official photos were beautiful, the headlines were sensational, but the truth behind those polished images was raw, fragile, and unforgettable. Social media exploded overnight. Millions debated Sara's reaction, Ken's silence, and Demet's presence. Hashtags like #CanDemetForever, #TeamSara, and #InStyleDrama clashed in comment sections worldwide. Some saw hope in the reunion, others saw heartbreak. But everyone agreed on one thing: this night had changed everything. And as dawn broke, a single thought lingered in the air. Because sometimes, the most shocking moments aren't scripted. They're real. They're raw. And they leave us asking for more.